Michael, a multi-billionaire, longed for genuine love. A love rooted in kindness, loyalty, and mutual respect. Tired of the superficial world of the city, he devised a plan. He would leave behind his wealth and identity, disguise himself as a poor farmer, and live in a small village. There, he hoped to find a woman who would love him for who he truly was. Hello champions, please hit the like button, leave a comment below, and subscribe to my channel. Mass Hill was a picturesque village surrounded by rolling hills and lush farmland. The air always smelled of fresh earth, and the quiet hum of life filled every corner. Life in Green Hill was simple, and the people there valued tradition above all else. Among the villagers, a man named Michael stood out, not because of any exceptional talent or charisma, but because of his humility and agility, his humbleness even in hardship. Michael was known as the poor farmer, a man who worked on others' land for a meager living. He was always seen wearing the same worn-out shirt and tattered trousers, his feet often covered in dust. Though many people wanted him in their land because of his energy, some said that he had the strength of 5 people. Despite his modest appearance, Michael had an air of mystery about him. He kept to himself, never complaining about his lot in life, and he was always ready to lend a helping hand. Villagers often wondered why he, a young man in his prime, was not married. In their eyes, marriage was a necessity for a man of his age, even if he was poor. But Michael wasn't like the other men in the village. Unknown to everyone, he wasn't poor at all. In fact, he was a billionaire. Born into a wealthy family in the city, Michael had inherited his father's business empire and expanded it with his own intelligence and hard work. Yet, despite his wealth, Michael was deeply unhappy. Years of dealing with women who were more interested in his money than his character had left him disillusioned. He had been engaged twice, only to discover that both women were in love with his bank account rather than him. Michael longed for genuine love, a love rooted in kindness, loyalty, and mutual respect. Tired of the superficial world of the city, he devised a plan. He would leave behind his wealth and identity, disguise himself as a poor farmer, and live in a small village. There, he hoped to find a woman who would love him for who he truly was. When Michael arrived in Mass Hill 6 months ago, he quickly adapted to the life of a common man. He rented a small hut on the edge of the village and began working as a laborer on other people's farms. His goal was simple: live humbly, observe, and find the kind of woman he had been searching for his entire life. But the reality of village life was harsher than Michael had anticipated. It was as if they were worse than those in the city. Michael's life in Mass Hill was marked by rejection. Whenever he expressed interest in any of the young women in the village, their responses were cruel and swift. "Michael, you?" Clara, the baker's daughter, had said with a laugh. "You can't even afford to buy bread, and you think you can marry me? Dream on." Another time, he had approached Emily, a schoolteacher, hoping to strike up a conversation. But her mother had intercepted him at the door. "Don't bother," she said coldly. "My daughter is meant for better things, not a life of poverty with a man like you." Even the older women in the village treated Michael with disdain. They swept their doorsteps after he left, a traditional way of cleansing their homes of undesirable visitors. Despite the humiliation, Michael remained kind. He greeted everyone with a smile and continued to help where he could. He believed that his patience and perseverance would eventually pay off. Among the villagers, there was one woman who caught Michael's attention: Rose. Rose was the most beautiful woman in Mass Hill. Her beauty was the talk of the village, and her family took great pride in her appearance. Her mother, Mrs. Alice, often boasted that Rose would marry a wealthy man and live in the city, far away from the village life. Michael was drawn to Rose's elegance and charm. Soon he asked Rose to be his girlfriend, and she agreed. Michael was happy. Truth was that he loved Rose so much, but he didn't know that she would agree to be his girlfriend. As time went on, he began to visit her family's home, bringing gifts of bushmeat, yams, cassava, and other farm produce. He even used the little money he earned to buy small things for them. At times, Rose's mother would even tell him that they had no food to eat, and Michael would give them money. Rose and her mother accepted his gifts eagerly, but their kindness was only a facade. "What a fool," Rose often said to her mother after Michael left. "He actually thinks he has a chance with me." Then the mother and child would clap out their hands and laugh out heartily. But Michael, hopeful and naive, believed he was making progress. One warm afternoon, Michael decided to take the next step. He didn't discuss anything with Rose. "I want to surprise her," he told one of his friends. He gathered his courage, bought some palm wine, and asked a few friends to accompany him to Rose's house. The night had just worn on when they arrived. Mrs. Alice welcomed them warmly. She assumed Michael had brought more gifts. She served them cola nuts. Michael prayed, and they all ate the cola nut. After the palm wine was poured and drank, Michael cleared his throat and spoke up. "I have come to ask for Rose's hand in marriage," he said, his voice steady but nervous. For a moment, the room was silent. Then, Mrs. Alice burst into laughter. "You want to marry my daughter?" she said incredulously. Michael swept her eyes across the room, nodded his head and smiled. "Yes," he answered. "Do you know who you're talking about? My daughter is destined for greatness, not a life of misery with a poor farmer." Michael tried to reason with her. "I've done my best to support your family. I've given what little I have." Before he could finish, Mrs. Alice grabbed a bucket of water and poured it over him. "Leave my house," she shouted. Rose stood by, smirking. "You should have known better," she said. "A man like you will never have a woman like me." As Michael stood there, drenched and humiliated, a soft voice broke through the chaos. "Rose, this is not right." Everyone turned to see Lily, the orphaned young woman who lived with Rose's family. Lily was quiet and unassuming, often treated as a servant in the household. Rose's mother was her aunt. She moved in with them after she lost her parents. She had never questioned them before. But now, she stepped forward with surprising courage. She grabbed a scarf and began drying Michael's clothes. "What you've done is wrong," she said to Mrs. Alice and Rose. "If you didn't want him, you should never have accepted his gifts." Rose rolled her eyes. "Why do you care? You're just a nobody." Lily ignored her and turned to Michael. "You don't deserve this. Let me help you." That moment marked the beginning of a friendship that would change both their lives forever. After the humiliating incident at Rose's house, Michael walked home with Lily by his side. He was drenched, not just in water, but in the sting of rejection. His friends, too shocked to speak, had left silently. But Lily, with her quiet presence, stayed. "Thank you," Michael said softly as they reached his small hut. "You didn't deserve that," Lily replied, her voice steady. "What they did was cruel." Michael looked at her closely for the first time. Lily was not like Rose. Her beauty was understated. A pair of bright eyes, a warm smile, and a calm demeanor that spoke of resilience. She was dressed in clothes that had seen better days, but there was a quiet dignity about her. "Why did you stand up for me?" he asked. Lily shrugged. "Because it was the right thing to do. You've been nothing but kind to us, and they treated you like dirt. That's not fair. And you stood up for me, against your own family?" Lily chuckled. "They aren't my family. I am there because I have no other place to go. They are both cruel and heartless." "What do you mean when you say that they are not your family? Who are they to you?" Lily inhaled and exhaled. Then her two hands went across her breast, and she stared at the empty space. "My parents died years ago. Rose's mother is my aunt. My mother's immediate elder sister. Sorry for the death of your parents. I don't want to ask you more questions about their death." "No problem. I also don't like talking about their death. It is one of the things I want to forget in this life." "So why did you say that your aunt and cousin are not your family?" Michael asked.
"Because they are not. I am there because I have nowhere to go. But I know that one day I will leave that house for good." "Amen," Michael shouted. From that day on, Lily and Michael grew closer. Lily began visiting him often, bringing him simple meals and helping him with his farm work. At first, Michael thought she pitied him, but over time, he realized her kindness was genuine. Rose and her mother were furious when they noticed Lily's growing friendship with Michael. They couldn't understand why the orphan girl, whom they treated like a servant, was defending a poor farmer. You're an embarrassment, Rose snapped at Lily one evening. Do you think that man can give you a better life? He's just a farmer. Lily didn't respond. She had learned long ago that arguing with Rose was futile. Instead, she focused on her chores, her thoughts drifting to Michael. Don't mind the stupid girl. It is my fault for bringing her into this home. Well, I am doing it for my sister, Alice said and smirked. Lily didn't say a word to them. She allowed them to say whatever they wanted. As the weeks passed, Lily and Michael's friendship blossomed. They often met in secret, sharing stories and dreams under the shade of an old baobab tree. One day Michael found himself opening up to Lily in a way, but when he realized it, he changed the situation. I wasn't always a farmer, he confided one afternoon. Lily tilted her head, curious. What do you mean? Michael hesitated. For the first time, he wanted to tell someone the truth about who he was, but he held back. I used to dream of being more than this. I know that one day I will make it big, he said finally, and used his two palms to describe how big he was going to make it. Lily smiled and tapped him on his shoulder. Dreams are important, and with your determination, I'm sure you'll achieve them. You are a hard-working man. Her words stayed with Michael, giving him a sense of hope he hadn't felt in a long time. News of Lily and Michael's friendship spread through the village like wildfire. The villagers mocked them, calling Lily foolish for associating with a poor farmer. They said that a girl like Lily was supposed to look for a rich and better man, a man who would help her and her other siblings out of poverty, and not someone who had nothing to offer. She's throwing her life away, one woman said. They deserve each other, another added with a sneer. But Lily paid no attention to the gossip. She believed in Michael and saw qualities in him that others overlooked. One day a friend of hers said to her on their way home from the market, Lily, I think you should listen to what people are saying. Remember that our people said that humans' mouths are God's mouths. This is because God speaks through human beings. You are the first daughter of your parents, and I think you should consider it before making any choice. You haven't said one thing in particular. Stop beating around the bush and spill it out. What are you saying? Lily said to her friend. In my opinion, I think that your friendship with the farmer is a mistake. You shouldn't have allowed it. Why, if I may ask? Lily questioned curiously. Are you asking me why? Can't you see that the man has nothing to offer you? The handwriting is on the wall. Lily stared at her friend. Of all the people in the village, she trusted her friend so much. She never imagined that her friend would always join in the shallow reasoning. You have to understand that everything is not money. That marriage is not all about money. Yes, I am the first daughter. The world is expecting me to marry a wealthy man, but I want myself to marry a kind and generous man. Michael is the person. He isn't only kind and generous, he's also a man full of ambition, Lily explained. Are you saying that you will marry him if he asks for your hand in marriage? Her friend asked with her eyes widened apart. Why not? That is my prayers now. Michael is fun to be with, and I will be glad to be by his side all my life as his wife. Just think about it. Don't say that I didn't warn you. Lily, think about it. Her friend warned her. I have heard you. Okay. He hasn't even asked me to marry him, and we are talking about marriage, Lily said and chuckled. One evening, after a long day of work, Michael sat outside his hut, deep in thought. He thought about the way other women had treated him in the city, the way they flocked into his apartment every weekend, all because of his money. Then he remembered the way people had also treated him in Mass Hill, how they all rejected him because he had nothing. He realized he had found in Lily what he had been searching for, a woman who valued kindness, honesty, and hard work more than money. The next day, Michael went to Rose's house again, but this time, he wasn't there for Rose. What do you want from us again? Mrs. Alice asked, standing astride in the doorway. I want to marry Lily, he announced. Mrs. Alice and Rose burst into laughter. You marry that orphan, Mrs. Alice said, clutching her stomach. You're both hopeless. But Michael didn't care. He was determined to marry Lily, no matter what anyone said. When Mrs. Alice and Rose confronted Lily about Michael's proposal, They expected her to refuse. Instead, she surprised them. "I'll marry him," Lily said firmly. "Are you insane?" Rose shouted. "You're the first daughter. You should be marrying someone rich, someone who can take care of you and your siblings." Lily shook her head. "I don't care about money. Michael loves me, and that's enough." Her words shocked the entire household. Despite their efforts to dissuade her, Lily remained resolute. Michael paid her bride price and also did a small traditional marriage. She wasn't allowed to move into the hut with him. He told her that they would only live together as husband and wife. After their white wedding, Lily tried to dissuade him from doing any white wedding. He had done enough by paying her bride price and the traditional marriage. She told him that they should use the money for other things. Lily also reminded him of all the troubles involved in raising a child. They would be needing more money when a child comes, so Lily insisted that she was moving in with him. Michael explained to Lily that he was a member of a different society in the church and wouldn't want them to despise him. Some of them would lay him off if they found out that he was living in a house with a woman when he hadn't done the white wedding. Lily thought over it and nodded her head in agreement. But that wasn't actually the whole truth. That wasn't the only reason why Michael didn't want Lily to move in with him. He knew that Lily living together with him before the wedding would expose his secret before the wedding day. It would make Lily notice the kind of phone calls he answered and the kind of conversation involved. As news of Michael and Lily's upcoming wedding spread, the village erupted with gossip. "A poor farmer having a wedding. What a joke," one man said. "Maybe they'll serve cassava pulp and bushmeat," another woman added, laughing. One evening Rose approached Lily in the kitchen. "I thought that a married woman should be staying with her husband. Why are you still here eating our food?" "Don't worry, Rose. I will move out after my wedding," Lily said. "Is that thing also called a wedding? I wonder what your foolish farmer was thinking before fixing a wedding. He wants to do a wedding because others are doing it. You haven't even bought any new clothes for your wedding and you call it a wedding. You better go to your poor husband so that you two will begin to produce children like chickens. That's the only thing a poor couple like you people knows how to do," Rose sighed. "You and that your farmer husband should not disgrace me on that day. You people better cancel this nonsense wedding now," Mrs. Alice chirped in. Lily ignored the taunts, but as the wedding day approached, she began to worry. Rose's words clicked her brain. She hadn't bought anything, not even slippers. What type of wedding was she going to do? Michael wasn't making any preparations, and she feared their big day would be a disaster. That night she approached Michael and narrated all her worries. She told him that even her people were all confused. They hadn't bought anything, or were they not buying anything? Michael smiled and told her not to worry. He assured her that everything would be fine. As always, Lily agreed that everything would be fine even when she didn't know how. 1 week before the wedding, Michael arrived at Lily's home with a large box. Inside was a beautiful wedding gown, the likes of which Lily had never seen. Even Rose and Mrs. Alice were surprised. "Where did you get this?" Lily asked, her eyes wide with disbelief. "I rented it," Michael said with a smile. Lily shook her head. "I don't need this. All I want is you." "But I have already rented it," Michael said. "Take it back to them and collect the money back. We need the money for something else," Lily insisted. "I hope you haven't stolen to rent a wedding dress," Rose threw in and chuckled. "If police come here, I will be the first to deny 2 of them," Mrs. Alice said. "Michael, don't mind them. Please, I accepted you because of you and not because of your luxurious wedding dress. Please take it back. We need money for other things." Lily explained more. "Lily, I didn't give them money," Michael said and chuckled. "What do you mean?" Lily questioned curiously. "That's what you were supposed to ask me since. I told a friend of mine who lives in the city that I am getting married and he promised to help me. His wife is dealing with all these types of things. You see, I didn't pay for it." Michael lied. Lily breathed out slowly. "Why didn't you tell me before?" "You didn't allow me. You were always looking for a way to get it cheaper." They both laughed out loud. Rose and Mrs. Alice would have killed them that their eyes were made of metals. The wedding day finally arrived, and the entire village gathered to witness the event. They expected a humble ceremony, but they were in for a surprise. A convoy of luxury cars pulled up to the village square, and elegantly dressed guests stepped out. Everyone stared in shock, and Michael emerged, dressed in a tailored suit. People began to whisper to each other, "Is that not the farmer?" A woman asked. "No, he can't be the one. Maybe someone who looks like him." Another woman said, "Look at him closely. He's the one. See his long hand and fingers. He's the one." "Yes, I think you are right. He is the one," another one said, and covered her mouth with her palms. It was then that Michael's true identity was revealed to the whole village. He was not a poor farmer, but a billionaire. Lily came in another convoy. Michael had explained everything to her a night before the wedding. It was then that he introduced her to some of his friends and workers. Lily was astonished. She didn't say much, or perhaps Michael didn't allow her to say much. Michael proposed to her again that night with the most expensive diamond ring that shook everyone in that place. It was in a closed, fascinated garden with candlelight. Lily watched as many people referred to her as Madam that night. She hadn't expected it at all. She had agreed to marry a farmer, but now she's getting married to a billionaire. The whole villagers at the church premises covered their mouths when Lily stepped down from the convoy in her most luxurious, eloquent wedding dress. Her hair is well packed with expensive human hair. Her makeup artist did a great job on her face that it took some people a few minutes to realize who she was. Rose and Mrs. Alice stood by the side shocked. They didn't see the mouth to talk with. Everything they ate in the wedding came from outside the village. Michael made sure that everything was in abundance. It was the kind that the whole villagers had never seen in their lifetime. As the convoy of luxury cars drove away with Michael and Lily after the reception, the villagers stood in stunned silence. The whispers began almost immediately. "Did you see those cars?" One woman asked. "He's a billionaire, and he was pretending to be a farmer," another added, her voice tinged with disbelief. Mrs. Alice and Rose, however, were inconsolable. They sat outside their house, their faces pale with shock. "All this time, we had a billionaire at our doorstep, and we threw him away," Mrs. Alice wailed. Rose was too stunned to speak. For years, she had dreamed of a wealthy husband who would whisk her away to the city, and now she had lost her chance forever. "It should have been me," Rose finally muttered, her voice trembling with regret. In the city, Michael introduced Lily to a world she had never imagined. Their home was a sprawling mansion with marble floors, crystal chandeliers, and a lush garden that seemed to stretch 4 miles. "This is all yours now," Michael said, taking her hand as they stood in the grand foyer. Lily was overwhelmed. "It's beautiful," she whispered, her voice filled with emotion. "But I don't need any of this. I just need you." Michael smiled, his heart swelling with love. "And that's why you're the one I chose." As Lily settled into her new life, Michael made sure to involve her in his business affairs. He wanted her to feel like an equal partner, not just a passive observer. "You're smart and kind," he told her. "You'll bring a fresh perspective to our work." Lily quickly proved him right. Her suggestions on community, outreach programs, and ethical practices earned her respect from Michael's colleagues and employees. One evening, as they sat on the balcony overlooking the city, Michael finally shared his full story with Lily. "I've been rich my whole life," he began, "but wealth doesn't bring happiness. I've seen how people change when they know you have money. I wanted to find someone who would love me for who I am, not what I have." Lily listened intently, her eyes never leaving his. "That's why I went to Masil," Michael continued. "I needed to know if true love was real, and then I met you." Lily reached for his hand. "You didn't have to pretend with me. I would have loved you no matter what." Michael's heart swelled with gratitude. "And that's why you're the best decision I've ever made." A few months later, Michael and Lily decided to visit Masil. They wanted to give back to the village that had brought them together. When they arrived, the villagers were shocked to see them. Michael had arranged 4 trucks filled with food, clothes, and supplies to be delivered to every household. "This is for all of you," Michael announced. "No one should go hungry or lack the basics in life." The villagers were overwhelmed with gratitude. Even Mrs. Alice and Rose, who had once mocked Michael, approached him with tears in their eyes. "We're so sorry for how we treated you," Mrs. Alice said. "We didn't know." Michael nodded. "What's done is done. Let's move forward." Lily, ever gracious, hugged Mrs. Alice. "We're all human," she said. "Let's focus on helping each other from now on." As the years passed, Michael and Lily became known, just for their wealth, but for their generosity and humility. They established schools, hospitals, and farms in Mass Hill, transforming the village into a thriving community. Their story became a beacon of hope for others. People marveled at how a wealthy man had found true love by embracing humility, and how an orphaned girl had risen to become a symbol of kindness and resilience. And through it all, Michael and Lily remained deeply in love. One evening, as they sat together under the stars, Lily rested her head on Michael's shoulder. "Do you think we would have found each other if things had been different?" she asked. Michael smiled. "Maybe, but I'm glad it happened this way. It showed me what really matters in life." Lily looked up at him, her eyes shining with love. "And what's that?" "You," he said simply. As the night enveloped them, the world around them seemed to fade away, leaving only their love, a love that had been tested and proven, a love that would endure forever.